In a stunning turn of events, that corrupt police officer who embezzled funds and conspired against you has finally been exposed. Their web of deception has come crashing down as they've been caught and sent to prison through a carefully orchestrated government sting operation. For those who stood strong in the face of injustice, your vindication has arrived. The system that once failed you has now corrected itself, bringing to light the truth you knew all along. The chosen ones stand tall. Today, as those who dared to conspire against you now face the consequences of their actions behind bars. The tables have turned, and justice reigns supreme. The intricate machinery of your destruction was architectural in its precision, evidence manipulated with surgical precision, allies systematically turned against you through carefully crafted lies, financial records altered with masterful expertise, all while they wore the badge that was supposed to represent protection and justice. What makes this betrayal so profound is not just what they did, but how deeply they understood you before they did it. They studied your vulnerabilities. They mapped your support network. They identified exactly what would cause you maximum suffering, while minimizing their exposure. This wasn't random harassment. This was psychological warfare executed by someone who had taken an oath to protect and serve. The threads of this conspiracy run deeper than you initially recognized. Emails disappeared from servers. Witness statements were mysteriously modified. Financial trails were obscured through departmental errors. And with each layer of deception, they strengthened their position while weakening yours, creating a reality so distorted that even you began to question your own sanity. But something remained within you that they couldn't account for, a resilience that refused to be broken, a connection to truth that no amount of gaslighting could sever, and that single unbreakable quality within you would eventually become the very instrument of their undoing. The machinery designed to protect you became the weapon used to destroy you. The moment they realized you wouldn't be silenced, the entire system activated against you with devastating efficiency. Every institution that should have provided checks and balances became another tool in their arsenal. The scale of this weaponization reveals how one corrupt individual can hijack entire systems when they know exactly which levers to pull. Police reports mysteriously edited after filing, evidence contaminated while in official custody, chain of custody documentation with unexplainable gaps, testimony coached to perfection, internal affairs investigations derailed by convenient procedural errors. The very mechanisms designed to prevent corruption became the infrastructure supporting it. Their weaponization extended beyond the justice system. The local media received anonymous tips about your ongoing investigation. Your professional reputation was systematically dismantled through strategic information leaks. Your financial stability was attacked through coordinated actions that appeared random but followed a precise pattern only visible when viewed from a distance. Justice moves in, silence until the moment it strikes with thunderous finality. While you suffered under the weight of their orchestrated persecution, forces were gathering in the darkness. Investigators had been watching, not you, but them. The very extremes of their corruption had finally triggered mechanisms beyond their control or awareness. The predator had become the prey in a game they didn't even know they were playing. The operation was months in the making. Digital forensics experts tracking document modifications, financial analysts following hidden money trails, internal affairs, conducting covert interviews with officers who had witnessed their misconduct but been afraid to speak up, all building toward a single moment of spectacular revelation. When it happened with overwhelming force. Their desk raided in the middle of a shift. Electronic devices seized before they could be wiped. Financial records subpoenaed from multiple institutions simultaneously. The choreography of their downfall executed with the same precision they had used to orchestrate yours. The evidence was damning beyond dispute. Body cam footage they thought had been deleted. Financial transactions hidden in plain sight through departmental coding systems. Witness testimony from inside their own department. The case built against them didn't just prove their corruption, it proved your innocence in a way that could never be questioned. The public nature of their takedown was not accidental. It was designed to send shockwaves through the entire system, to serve as both justice for you and warning to others who might consider similar abuses of power. The spectacle of their downfall became front-page news, their name now synonymous with corruption, in a stunning reversal of the narrative they had constructed. What you couldn't see during your darkest moments was that your persistent claims, despite overwhelming opposition, had planted seeds of doubt in precisely the right places. Your refusal to be silenced had created the initial cracks in their facade that investigators were able to pry open and ultimately shatter completely. Hey, this is my Canary cutting into your regularly scheduled Chosen One programming for just a moment. We are the founders of the Obsidian Inner Order and the Astral Atom Network, and we're done playing nice. We're in a spiritual war, you know it, we know it, and we're out here bleeding for this mission, full time. I'm hungry for fourth-dimensional Archon blood, but we need the ammunition. So listen, when you join the Inner Order, you're not just supporting us. You're getting access to exclusive tools they never wanted you to have, psychic self-defense training, targeted individual intel, spiritual warfare tactics they scrub from the internet. And every week, we meet in secret, chosen ones only, on Zoom. No filters, no fluff, just real gnosis, real family, real power. It's a 360-degree win. You get what you need. We get to keep fighting, so don't just watch, drop a like, share this video to everyone you know now, and join the Obsidian Inner Order. Let's finish what we started. Link in the description. Let's freaking go. Those who prosecuted you now stand as witnesses to your character. The transformation began slowly, a former colleague reaching out with a hesitant apology. A detective asking to meet privately to explain some things. A prosecutor reviewing case notes with new eyes. As the full scope of the corruption became undeniable, those who had been weaponized against you faced their own reckonings. Some came forward publicly, their remorse genuine but complicated by shame. Others acknowledged their role more quietly, through back channels and indirect support. The spectrum of human response to being manipulated revealed itself, from humble accountability to face-saving justifications to silent acknowledgement through changed behavior. The officer who led the initial investigation now questions everything they documented. The witnesses whose testimony was twisted now clarify what they actually saw. The colleagues who stepped away now step forward as character witnesses. The judge who signed the warrants now scrutinizes every document that crosses their bench with renewed skepticism. Even those who remain too proud to admit their error have changed their behavior toward you. The subtle shift in their demeanor, the new deference in their interactions, the careful way they now consider your perspective, all speak to a fundamental reordering of respect that no public apology could adequately express. Your existence represented a threat they could not allow to continue unchecked. The question that haunted you through your ordeal, "Why me?" now reveals its profound answer. You were never randomly selected. You were specifically targeted because you represented something that could not be permitted to exist within their corrupted system. The pattern becomes clear when examined through the lens of vindication. Every person they targeted shared specific qualities, integrity that couldn't be compromised, perceptiveness that couldn't be deceived, courage that couldn't be intimidated. These qualities make you dangerous to systems built on corruption, complicity, and fear. Their obsession with destroying you betrayed the threat you posed. The resources dedicated to your destruction far exceeded what would be deployed against an ordinary citizen. The intensity of their focus revealed their fear. Their persistent escalation exposed their desperation. They didn't just want you discredited, they needed you demolished. The timing of their attack coincides precisely with moments you demonstrated these threatening qualities. The questioning that couldn't be deflected, the inconsistency you wouldn't ignore, the principle you refused to compromise. Each act of integrity from you triggered another wave of retribution from them. What they recognized in you, perhaps before you fully recognized it in yourself, was your capacity to dismantle their entire operation simply by remaining true to your nature. Your unwillingness to participate in convenient untruths represented an existential threat to a system dependent on collective compromise. Your marking for destruction was, paradoxically, the highest validation of your character. They would not have deployed such extraordinary resources against someone ordinary. They would not have constructed such elaborate mechanisms to discredit someone insignificant. The scale of their response reveals the scale of your importance. When everything is taken, what remains is who you truly are. The period of complete abandonment stripped you to your essence. With reputation destroyed, resources depleted, and relationships shattered, you entered the crucible that few experience, and fewer survive intact. This was the necessary emptying that would create space for what was to come. In the darkness of that isolation, something awakened within you. Perceptions sharpened beyond their former limits. Intuitions strengthened into clear knowing. Spiritual connections deepened into tangible guidance. What they intended as your destruction became the activation of dormant abilities that would later serve as your most powerful allies. Time collapsed during this period. Days blurred into nights as you navigated a landscape of pure, emotional survival. The psychological warfare they deployed was designed to break your spirit permanently. Instead, it broke open channels of consciousness that most never access throughout their entire lives. The surrender forced upon you became your most powerful teacher. With nothing left to lose, you discovered a freedom beyond circumstance. With no reputation left to protect, you found liberation from others' perceptions. With material security stripped away, you developed resources of spirit that can never be taken. This dark night served as the alchemical transformation that medieval mystics described, the dissolution that must precede reconstruction. Every identity you had previously held was systematically dismantled. Every external validation was removed. What remained was the indestructible core of who you truly are. When communication with the outside world was severed, you discovered an inner dialogue of profound wisdom. When injustice seemed to triumph completely, you found a relationship with justice that transcends human systems. When material evidence offered no hope, you developed perception of patterns and possibilities invisible to ordinary awareness. Forces beyond physical explanation intervened when your destruction seemed certain. The statistically impossible coincidences that preserved critical evidence. The stranger who appeared at precisely the right moment to witness a key event. The technical malfunction that preserved digital records that should have been deleted. The sudden illness that prevented a corrupted judge from hearing your case. These weren't random events, they were coordinated interventions. Review the timeline with clear eyes. Note how many times you were one step away from complete destruction, when something unexplainable shifted the dynamics. Recognize how many of these interventions occurred beyond your awareness at the time, only becoming visible in retrospect when their significance could be understood. The preservation of evidence defied logical explanation. Documents that should have disappeared remained accessible through administrative errors. Recordings thought to be erased remained on redundant systems normally never accessed. Witnesses appeared who had no logical reason to be present at critical moments. Your own intuitive actions during this period deserve recognition. The impulse to make a specific phone call that later proved critical, the decision to document something that seemed insignificant at the time, the choice to speak to someone who would later become a crucial ally. Your higher consciousness was operating even when your conscious mind was overwhelmed. What protected you wasn't blind luck. It wasn't random chance. It wasn't even isolated interventions. It was a coordinated campaign of spiritual forces, matching and exceeding the human campaign deployed against you. For every strategy they executed in the physical, counter-strategies were deployed from dimensions they couldn't perceive or comprehend. The protection extended beyond evidence preservation. Consider how many times your physical safety was threatened but preserved through fortunate timing. How many potentially deadly situations were diffused by seemingly random circumstances? How many times you were guided away from danger by what appeared to be ordinary decisions? Your unwavering commitment to truth activated forces beyond human understanding. The moment your persecution crossed a specific threshold, mechanisms beyond physical comprehension were activated. Your consistent alignment with truth, despite overwhelming pressure, created resonant frequencies that connected your individual battle to cosmic principles that cannot be permanently violated. What your persecutors never understood is that sustained injustice against a single individual aligned with truth creates distortions in reality that must eventually be corrected. The greater the injustice, the more powerful the correction. The more complete the persecution, the more total the vindication required to restore balance. The counterattack operated on multiple dimensions simultaneously. Physical evidence mysteriously preserved. Witnesses unexpectedly finding courage. Investigators developing sudden intuitions that led them to hidden evidence. Administrative processes failing at precisely the moments that would expose corruption. These weren't isolated incidents but coordinated responses. Your persecutors' short-sightedness was their ultimate downfall. They understood power within human systems, but remained blind to the larger systems those human constructs exist within. They recognized the power of physical evidence, but failed to comprehend the power of truth as a fundamental force of reality itself. What appeared as your destruction was actually the activation of your greatest protection. When human systems failed you completely, you gained access to guidance and support from beyond those systems. When material evidence seemed insufficient, you developed access to information through channels they couldn't monitor or control. The cosmic machinery. Your alignment activated operates with perfect precision, but on timescales difficult for human perception to recognize. What seemed like delays in justice were actually perfectly timed deployments of influence. What appeared as continued persecution was actually the gathering of forces for a single decisive counterattack. From accused to authority, the powerful transformation of your public identity. The vindication you've experienced isn't merely personal, it's positional. You now occupy a unique space of proven discernment. Your perspective carries the weight of someone who recognized truth when everyone else accepted lies. Your insights bear the authority of someone who maintained clarity while others succumbed to deception. This position brings unprecedented opportunities if strategically leveraged. Professional doors previously closed, now open in response to your demonstrated character. Financial resources previously withheld, now become available to support your proven judgment. Relationships previously impossible now form around your established integrity. The narrative of your experience must be strategically framed. You aren't merely someone who was wronged and then vindicated. You are someone whose perception was proven exceptional, whose character was tested beyond ordinary limits, whose discernment has been confirmed through the most extreme circumstances. This reframing transforms how others perceive their association with you. Connection to you no longer carries risk but offers protection. The protection of alignment with someone whose navigation of deception has been masterfully demonstrated. Your proven ability to identify corruption becomes a shield that extends to those in relationship with you. Resources now available to you extend beyond material compensation. Your access to information has been transformed by your experience. Those who witnessed your vindication now serve as intelligence networks, bringing you information they previously would have withheld. Your persecution and vindication have created information channels invisible to those who haven't experienced similar journeys. The position you now occupy isn't merely restored, it's elevated. The very mechanisms deployed to destroy you have instead positioned you as an authority on corruption, on systemic failure, on perseverance, and on discernment. This elevation isn't just personal satisfaction, it's strategic positioning with practical significance. Your ordeal wasn't just about earthly justice, but spiritual transformation. What appeared as persecution was actually purification. What seemed like punishment was actually preparation. What felt like destruction was actually initiation. The intense pressure applied to you burned away everything that wasn't aligned with your essential purpose and highest potential. Ancient traditions across cultures describe similar processes of initiation. The removal of the initiate from ordinary society, the trials designed to test absolute limits, the stripping away of former identity, the darkness and isolation, the eventual rebirth into new capacities and responsibilities. Your experience follows this archetypal pattern precisely. The qualities now activated within you couldn't have emerged through ordinary experience. The perception now available to you couldn't have developed through conventional education. The resilience now defining you couldn't have formed through normal challenges. The extraordinary development required extraordinary circumstances. This initiation serves specific cosmic purposes. Those who face such extreme betrayal while maintaining connection to truth develop unique capacities required for the transformation of corrupted systems. Your ordeal wasn't random suffering but specialized training for specific functions few are equipped to perform. The evidence of your initiation reveals itself in transformed awareness. You now perceive deception before it fully forms. You recognize corruption in systems others still trust completely. You detect manipulative patterns in communication that remain invisible to those who haven't been similarly tested. These aren't paranoid hypervigilance but refined discernment. Your initiation has fundamentally altered your relationship with fear. What others find terrifying, public criticism, loss of status, systemic opposition, you have already survived in their most extreme forms. This liberation from ordinary fear enables action from clarity rather than self-protection, allowing you to fulfill functions impossible for those still bounded by conventional concerns. Your battle-hardened wisdom now serves as both warning and inspiration. The power you now hold extends far beyond personal vindication. You have become living testimony to forces larger than human corruption. Your very existence serves as evidence that truth, while it may be temporarily suppressed, cannot be permanently overcome. This makes you simultaneously a threat to remaining corrupt systems and a beacon to others fighting similar battles. Those still operating through deception recognize the danger you represent. Your proven ability to identify manipulation, withstand coordinated attacks, and emerge vindicated marks you as their natural predator. Their awareness of your capabilities fundamentally changes the landscape they operate within, restricting their previous freedom to act with impunity. For those still trapped in their own battles against corrupted systems, you represent tangible hope. Your journey provides tactical guidance for their resistance. Your vindication offers evidence of possible outcomes beyond their current circumstances. Your transformation demonstrates potential awakening beyond mere survival. The wisdom you've gained through this crucible isn't theoretical, but practical. You understand the specific mechanisms of systemic corruption, not through study, but through direct experience. You recognize the particular patterns of institutional deception, not through training, but through personal navigation. This practical wisdom has applications far beyond your individual circumstance. The network forming around your vindicated truth creates a new power structure operating parallel to corrupted systems. Those who recognized your truth before vindication, those who witnessed the orchestrated nature of your persecution, those who observed your subsequent elevation. Together they form a community of discernment capable of identifying similar patterns elsewhere. The ultimate power of your vindication lies not in compensation or restoration, but in transformation. You have been forged through circumstances few could survive intact. You have developed capacities few will ever access. You have gained perspective few can comprehend. These aren't just personal assets but cosmic investments with specific purpose. You stand now at the intersection of extraordinary forces. Behind you lies a systematic campaign of destruction that would have annihilated someone of lesser constitution. Before you extends a path of purpose that could only have been revealed through the extreme circumstances you've handled. This isn't merely about personal justice. Your vindication serves as evidence that truth cannot be permanently suppressed. Your transformation demonstrates capacities that emerge only through the most extreme testing. Your position now represents a strategic placement in a larger campaign beyond ordinary perception. The same forces that protected you when physical evidence seemed insufficient now guide you towards specific application of your battle-hardened wisdom. The same awareness that allowed you to perceive deception when everyone else accepted lies now directs you toward systems requiring similar illumination. The same resilience that sustained you through complete abandonment now empowers you for challenges few could endure. The shadow conspiracy has been revealed, but its full implications extend far beyond your individual experience. You've been positioned, prepared, and proven for a specific function in this precise moment. The power you now wield isn't just about your past vindication, but about future transformation. Transformation only possible through someone who has faced the depths. You've survived and emerged not just intact, but illuminated.